Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
A water main break in Raleigh where you're looking live this morning. We're going to talk about the traffic delays that this is causing as a busy street is shut down. Ken Smith will show you how to get around the mess.
And I'm on the WRAL weather patio where I'm happy to have my coat, but a big warm-up is on the way. I'll show you.
And a teen in custody. The new arrest this morning after police say 2 teens assaulted an officer.
Plus, the future of a beloved park. The plans to redevelop Lake Crabtree Park that has some groups ready to make their concerns known tonight. And of course, we'll be covering that closely here as it relates to us here locally. Thank you so much for joining us here on WRAL News and Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. It is Wednesday, and Elizabeth, I know, thank goodness, we're halfway through the week. Elizabeth is on the WRAL weather patio. She said she's happy to have her coat now, but you're really not going to need it later this afternoon, Elizabeth. It's going to be beautiful.
What a big change we're going to end up seeing today. It is gorgeous out here right now. There's not a cloud in the sky. It is a touch breezy. We have winds at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, but the wind will pick up this afternoon and help to usher in even warmer air. Yesterday's high was 62. We're looking at temperatures in the upper 60s for this afternoon. But right now it is 39 degrees in the triangle, southwest wind at 6. A live look at Apex behind me. It looks just like it does here in the gardens, just that beautiful blue sky. This afternoon, winds will be gusting up to 30 miles per hour and steady at around 20-25. That'll be close to what we saw yesterday. And again, that's where the warm air is going to come from. It's still chilly out there right now, though. 39 in Clinton, 38 in Rocky Mount and Wilson, as well as Goldsboro, 41 and Southern Pines, 46 up in South Hill. We'll see a lot of sunshine today and high temperatures in the upper 60s. Tomorrow will be a little cooler. And then Friday, we have some rain in the forecast. I'll walk you through that coming up.
Hey, this is what's happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We want to start in Orange County this morning. Yeah, we've been there for the last hour and a half or so. That crash on I-40 eastbound near Durham Chapel Hill Boulevard cleared, but we're still seeing some lingering delays stretching almost all the way back to the I-40, I-85 split. You're coming in from Hillsborough this morning. You probably want to use Highway 86 as an alternate route because we are seeing traffic getting through there on I-40 eastbound this morning as a result that crash being cleared. So really nothing to worry about. We continue to follow breaking news here in Wake County this morning. A water main break on Hillsborough Street at the roundabout there at West Morgan Street. And that's where we find WR's Kelsey Coffey on that scene this morning. Set the scene for us and what's going on now.
Ken, crews have been busy working to repair this water main break since 11 o'clock last night. We'll give you a live look now to see what crews are doing. You may not be able to see much here because there's a Mack truck here that's in front of that water main break. But we do know that this has affected part of Hillsborough Street. So part of Hillsborough Street will be closed this morning if you're trying to make your way into downtown. This is at the roundabout with Hillsborough Street and West Morgan Street. So we know that this can get really congested later on in the morning as folks are headed off to work. So Ken, what can you tell folks about a possible detour?
Well, the thing is, traffic is getting through on those westbound lanes leaving the downtown area this morning. But if you're going into the downtown area on Hillsborough, you will be detoured onto Ash Avenue. The detour signs will work you back to Hillsborough Street. Now, if you're leaving the downtown area and you want to avoid that area altogether, just take Boylan Avenue and that'll take you over to Western Boulevard as well. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown at I-85 in and out of Durham this morning. A crash on I-85 southbound just cleared. You're looking at 11-minute delays in and out of Durham using I-885 this morning, so just keep that in mind. In terms of the drive time on any of the major routes, coming in from Apex this morning, you're looking at a 17-minute delay. Friends in Wake Forest, you're looking at a 15-minute delay. Over in the Bull City, all the major routes heading in, they're virtually delay-free, but this is what we're talking about. If you're leaving Hillsborough this morning, you're looking at a 9-minute delay if I-85 is part of your morning commute.
We're following breaking news this morning. Just before 7 o'clock, Durham police announced a second teenager wanted in connection with an assault on a state trooper over the weekend is now in custody. Police say that second teenager was taken into custody this morning on North Holman Avenue. The WRAL breaking news tracker was there as officers conducted that investigation just after 2 this morning. The search started after officers went out to Durham Chapel Hill Boulevard last night, and they say the 14 and 15-year-old suspects abandoned a car there and ran off. The teenagers were wanted after police say they shot at that trooper during a chase in Orange County. That was on Saturday. But again, officers were able to catch both of these teenagers.
This afternoon, lawmakers will receive updates on Helene recovery in North Carolina at the state legislative building where you are looking live this morning. They'll get more information on FEMA housing and federal recovery resources this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Lawmakers will be evaluating how to spend the relief funding.
Not only how much money do we spend, but where do we send it? Do we use that money from the state to repair roads? Do we use it to send it directly to local governments who might have less money coming in from taxes because tourism is down?
Today's meeting comes ahead of a meeting with the Hurricane Disaster Management Committee tomorrow.
Today, you can weigh in on plans to redevelop a popular Wake County park. WRAL's Laura Levine is at Lake Crabtree County Park this morning. And Laura, the Airport Authority wants to make some pretty big changes there.
They do. Good morning, Chris. We know that RDU and the future of this park here, Lake Crabtree County Park, is really up in the air right now. The Airport Authority plans to lay out its vision of redevelopment for this beloved park today, but it is receiving some backlash from community members. Taking a look now at the proposed development, the plans would affect about 136 acres, including nearly all of the 9.4 miles of bike trails and a small sliver of lakefront. RDU says the development will create a unique and innovative entertainment destination, which will appeal to the greater Triangle region. That could also include restaurants, bars, or a hotel. But hikers and bikers are truly devastated by this news. The Triangle Off-Road Cyclist Group, which partnered with Wake County to build many of the park trails, tell us that it's just too valuable to lose.
And it's an amazingly centrally located resource that's heavily used. And we would argue, what good is a forested county park without 3/4 of the forest and without almost all of the trails? There's not a whole lot of utility and effectiveness to something that right now is an amazingly effective, centrally, utilized resource.
So RDU owns about 330 acres of Lake Crabtree County Park and for years have leased the land to Wake County for only $1 a year. However, RDU says in a statement, new requirements from the Federal Aviation Administration imposed last year means the Airport Authority is now required to get fair market value for the land. The Airport Authority Board of Directors will meet today at 4 p.m. They will have a presentation, and then that'll be followed by a public comment section, which begins at 5 p.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Morrisville.
And today, the UNC Board of Governors committees will meet before the full board meets tomorrow. It's the first meeting since UNC Chapel Hill's chancellor said he would comply with immigration enforcement agents on campus. Lee Roberts made the statement during a question and answer session with faculty last week. And the board's committee meetings begin at 9:30 this morning. The full board will gather at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Schools are no longer protected from immigration enforcement. Wake County Public School System leaders say they are committed to making sure schools remain safe and welcoming for all children. New guidance from the district informs principals that ICE agents can only enter a school's campus to detain people here illegally if they have a federal warrant. Some teachers and advocacy groups want the district to take a stronger stance to protect children, and that would include declaring school campuses as safe zones.
Failure to make that explicit sends a message to undocumented students and their families that they are not a priority, and that's simply unacceptable.
The school system says it does not ask for immigration status of students. It also does not provide information to ICE unless it's subpoenaed.
Durham Public School leaders say they are also committed to an inclusive and welcoming environment for all families. A statement released last night says in part, the following remains our promise. Student safety and privacy are protected. Durham Public Schools does not discriminate based on immigration status. Support for students is unwavering.
Today, the Federal Reserve wraps up its first two-day meeting of President Trump's second term. And experts and indicators believe that the Fed will not lower interest rates today. Trump has said that he wants to lower those rates, though, and traders believe the Fed will not change rates until at least June. By then, though, we'll have a better idea of how Trump's plans for tariffs, regulations, and immigration will affect our economy. And of course, we'll be monitoring that meeting all day long. You can tune into WRAL from 4 to 7:30 this evening for our breakdown from the decision of the Fed and its effect on the stock market.
New this morning, a report released at midnight shows North Carolina's 4th and 8th graders are doing a bit better in math, but not in reading. That's according to the newly released Nations Report Card. The data shows mixed results for recovering from pandemic learning loss. The state is making some changes to how it teaches kids to read. State Superintendent Mo Green says those changes will take time to show up on tests.
Your time is 8:10 this morning. A new law, the first piece of legislation President Trump is expected to sign during his term, and how it will affect people who are here illegally.
And a massive sinkhole rescue, how crews are working to save a man stuck in this hole in Japan. They've been working for 2 days.
And we do have a high brush fire risk for it today. Of course, we do have dry conditions, and it is going to be nice and warm. But you don't want to do any outdoor burning. I'll show you how nice it will feel with those warmer temperatures, though, coming up.
Good morning, Apex, as we take a live look right now for downtown. Sunny blue skies out there. That's what we're looking forward to today. Also, some warmer temperatures. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is on the WRAL weather patio. The jacket is on for now, but I don't think we're going to need a heavy jacket later today.
Once we hit lunchtime, we're talking about 60 degrees. We hit 61 yesterday, but right now it's chilly, and tomorrow morning will be just like this. It's going to be chilly with temperatures in the 30s to begin with. Look at all this sunshine, though. Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill's courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. Looks absolutely beautiful everywhere. I'm watching the next system that's headed our way for Friday. And you can see it really starting to take shape there in Texas. You can see the precipitation. There'll be a cold front that develops. You see that cold front actually that's just north and west of us right now. That one will pass through overnight. It is not going to bring either clouds or precipitation, really, but it will bring our temperatures down slightly for tomorrow. But this is the one that we're watching for Friday. You can see that rain around Dallas and Houston. This front is likely to bring us very warm weather ahead of it, with a high of 70 on Friday. And then the rain develops into the afternoon, right after lunchtime, mid-afternoon, depending on where you are. So it does look like it's going to be, kind of a wet afternoon, evening if you had plans to be out. There's the possibility of thunderstorms with this as well. Let's follow this along, and with Futurecast, it's dry for the first part of the day on Friday, but we'll pause it right there at around 1:30, and you can start to see some of that rain sliding in. The band of rain will be fairly narrow. It'll move fairly quickly, so it is likely to be out by, say, 8 or 9 o'clock or so. So if you do have plans to be out during the evening, as long as it doesn't slow down, you may be dry, but it's probably going to be wet still for the evening commute. 70% chance of rain on Friday, but Saturday and Sunday look dry. How much rain? 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch of rain across our area, and then it looks dry for Saturday and Sunday. Krispy Kreme challenge on Saturday, breezy and cool, 49 at race start time, and then in Durham, Cupid Run starts at 2 o'clock. Low 60s with sunshine, looking nice. Coming up in just a few minutes, meteorologist Chris Michaels is going to be talking about the cold weather that we saw for January, but how it's still pretty different here versus what happens up to the north. Groundhog Day is on Sunday, and Groundhog Day, of course, means if we have sunshine and the groundhog sees its shadow, 6 more weeks of winter. But that's not what it looks like on the forecast. Look at that, 71 Monday, 65 on Tuesday. Lots of warm weather on this 7-day forecast.
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We're going to start in Orange County first off before we get to Wake County this morning, and then see what we're happening here in Wake County. This water main break shutting down the Hillsborough Street about West Morgan Street. Right there, the detours on Ash Avenue. Scott 5 is over that situation this morning. We're being told that it's going to take at least until 10 o'clock this morning for this situation to really clear up this morning, because it's a situation where they've been working on this for at least since 11 o'clock last night, but you can see those westbound lanes there on Hillsborough Street getting through. The issue is those eastbound lanes as we bring it back here live in the WRAL Traffic Center. As we widen out the view, if you want to avoid the area altogether, leaving downtown, just exit on Boylan Avenue, and that'll get you over to Western Boulevard. If you're going into the downtown area in Hillsborough, you will be detoured onto Ash Avenue. Follow the detour signs that'll get you back to Hillsborough Street this morning. Depending depending on where you're headed this morning. Also, speaking of Orange County, this is what we're talking about. This slowdown that we're seeing here on those eastbound lanes stretching all the way back to the I-40, I-85 split. If you're leaving Hillsborough this morning, you might want to use Highway 86 as an alternate route. We are seeing a little bit of a slowdown in Durham this morning in both the north and southbound lanes. As we take a look at our sensors this morning, really you're looking at the 13-minute delay if you're heading from I-40 into 85 into Durham this morning, a 13-minute delay. And if you're leaving Durham, you're just looking at an 8-minute delay. In terms of the other major routes coming into the capital city, the real troubled spot is a 14-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest this morning and getting back over to Durham in terms of all those basically delays. Really the two trouble spots, I-40 eastbound coming in from Chapel Hill, and if you're coming in from Hillsborough on 85, you're looking at an 8-minute delay. As always, you're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle.
The first piece of legislation Congress took up this session is expected to be signed into law as early as today. The Laken-Riley Act requires the Department of Homeland Security to detain people in the U.S. illegally for certain crimes. Here's Amy Kiley.
Criminal networks that have brought devastating crime to American soil. We're getting them all out.
A White House official says President Donald Trump will sign the Laken-Riley Act today. It requires the Department of Homeland Security to detain undocumented migrants for certain crimes. They include offenses like theft and burglary, or those resulting in death or serious injury. It applies to people in the country unlawfully or without legal status.
Our hearts, our prayers continue for Laken's family.
The immigration bill is likely the first legislation to get Trump's signature this term. Most lawmakers who voted for the measure are Republicans, but dozens are Democrats.
Americans are very clear. They want more border security, but they also want an opportunity for sane immigration reform that stabilizes and fixes our broken immigration system.
The legislation is named after a 22-year-old Georgia student who was killed last year. An undocumented migrant from Venezuela is serving a life sentence for her murder. The bill signing comes as ICE reports thousands of arrests this week. Agents have a quota of 75 a day.
The goal is to arrest at least that many, but hopefully many more.
Experts say there's no connection between immigration and crime. In fact, some research shows sometimes immigrants commit crimes at lower rates than people born in the U.S.
Because of bad apples, not all of us should pay.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The union representing 750,000 federal employees says the Trump administration's offer to buy out workers will cause chaos. The Trump administration is requiring federal workers, many of whom have had flexible work arrangements since the pandemic, to return to the office. Anyone who does not want to return is being given the offer to resign by February 6th. Workers who take the buyout will get severance pay through the end of September. The American Federation of Government Employees says this is part of an effort from the Trump administration to create a toxic environment for workers.
Raleigh police say Officer Max Gillick's heroic actions last week helped protect others. Gillick remains in critical condition after he was shot during a shootout last week. The police department released its 5-day report yesterday about that shooting in the Renaissance Park neighborhood. That happened last week, and it says that Antonio Rodriguez broke into his ex-wife's home. He used a taser and shot her boyfriend, John Rowe. Gillick carried the injured Rowe out from the home and onto the screen porch, and in total, 62 shots were fired during the shootout in the home. Gillick stayed by Rowe's side even though he himself was shot, and the Raleigh Police Department is supporting Gillick's family as he recovers.
So we've had rooms set aside where people could cater in food, especially churches, to the family and to some of the officers that might be, standing vigil over there with him or with the family. We bought airline tickets for the mother, the father, and the sister to fly to Raleigh from Colorado.
Rowe died from his injuries, and Rodriguez was shot and killed by other officers. If you would like to donate to the Raleigh Police Foundation to help Officer Gillick with his recovery, you can go to our website, WRAL.com.
Well, last week felt like winter in the north, but it wasn't as cloudy. Meteorologist Chris Michaels is here now to show us why even our colder winters are often brighter, Chris.
Yeah, one of the benefits of living in the south, right? And but we got a little bit of a taste of the north last week in terms of our temperatures. The average high was in the 30s. The average low was in the teens. You compare that to some northern climates, and that's typical of January in Poughkeepsie, New York, and in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But as we were just saying, it's often been not as cloudy. You see the white. That's the area where they average mostly cloudy conditions during the winter. But here at home, we average partly cloudy. In fact, so far this month, the average cloud coverage has been about 40%. So let's talk about why that's the case. In the winter, you tend to have a more active storm track along the U.S.-Canada border. More storms means more cloud cover. And also when you have that colder air pouring over the warmer Great Lakes, you get more cloud cover up there. And then filling the void behind those systems, high pressure. High pressure means sinking air, means more sunshine. So oftentimes the clouds we see, they're only around for a day or so, and then they're out of here. But hey, speaking of sunshine, more on the way. Check it out. Over the next 6 weeks, we'll be close to 12 hours of daylight. Again, another benefit of living in this part of the country.
Frontier Airlines is at it again. Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center right now. Frontier is trying to buy Spirit Airlines again. Did this in November when Spirit had filed for bankruptcy. A federal judge shut it down. It didn't go through at that point. But now the board for both companies and the executives have met, and they believe they are aligned. The Frontier believes their plan to exit bankruptcy and get Spirit out of trouble is better than what Spirit has put together. There are some at Spirit, though, that believe it's an inferior plan and it's just too risky. If they did merge, it would create the 5th largest U.S. carrier.
All right, thanks, Jeff. We'll take a look at this massive sinkhole swallowing a truck near Tokyo. It first trapped a driver yesterday, and the rescue operation continues this morning. A 74-year-old man who was driving the truck is now unresponsive. A second sinkhole opened up nearby after rescuers managed to pull up the rear end of the truck. The driver's cab is still in that sinkhole. We'll be right back.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. It is shaping up to be a beautiful spring-like day. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner on the WRAL weather patio to tell us how warm we're going to get.
Yeah, it's chilly here on the patio right now. Still upper 30s and low 40s, but we are well on our way to a gorgeous afternoon. A live look at Durham here, nothing but clear skies. Town by town, looking at 40s and 30s, 43 in Lewisburg, 41 Fayetteville, 47 South Hill, 38 degrees still in Rocky Mount. But a great afternoon, evening to be out exercising. We're going to hit 61 by lunchtime and highs in the upper 60s for this afternoon.
We're seeing on top of that breaking news here in Wake County. We're talking about a water main break down there on Hillsborough Street at the roundabout at West Morgan Street, shutting down the eastbound lanes of Hillsborough Street. I'll let you know how to get around that at the bottom of the hour over on Fox 50. In terms of the drive times heading into the capital city, the real troubled spots, US 1 coming in from Wake Forest, and of course, I-87, you're looking at an 8-minute delay coming in from Nightdale this morning. Over in the Bull City, really the only major trouble spot is right here coming in from Chapel Hill. Those I-40 eastbound congestion building, you're looking at a 14-minute delay.
Thanks, Ken. Today, lawmakers will receive updates on Helene recovery in North Carolina. They'll get more information on FEMA housing and federal recovery resources at 2 o'clock this afternoon. They'll evaluate how to spend relief funding. And today, you can weigh in on RDU's plans to develop Lake Crabtree County Park. RDU owns 330 acres of the park. It's leased the land to Wake County for just $1 a year. That lease is set to end in June. RDU is now looking to develop a 136-acre section. Public comment begins at 5 o'clock at the Airport Authority Board meeting. Next on Fox 50, a teen now in custody after police say they assaulted an officer.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Right now at 8:30, a messy morning commute. The water main break forcing a busy Raleigh road to close. We'll tell you how to get around it.
It's chilly right now on the WRAL patio, but look at this afternoon. We're going to climb into the 60s, likely to be the warmest we've seen all year.
And the future of Lake Crabtree Park. The plans to redevelop this beloved park as the public prepares to speak up about how they feel about these changes. We'll have full coverage of that and other stories today as we are joining us here on WRAL News and Fox 50. Thanks. I'm Chris Levy.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. It is Wednesday. We're halfway through the week.
Almost there.
We're almost there. We're almost to Friday. But as the week's been going on, the weather is just getting nicer and nicer. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner outside to tell us how warm we're going to get this afternoon.
all the way into the mid to upper 60s. It's going to be really nice. That'll be the warmest that we've seen so far this year. Of course, this year, is not even a whole month long at this point. But let's take a look at Wilson. You can see the whirligig spinning. Wind will be an issue today, but the wind is what's going to help to deliver some of this warmer air. So we do need that to happen if we want temperatures to climb into the 60s. It's 39 officially in the triangle right now with a southwest wind just at 6 miles per hour. But this afternoon, winds will be at about 20 to 25, gusting to 30, similar to what we saw yesterday. But again, it should be a fairly warm wind. It's chilly this morning, still 39 in Durham and Raleigh, but temperatures are starting to creep up in a couple of spots. We're at 47 in South Hill, still 41 in Southern Pines and in Fayetteville. This is a look at our hour-by-hour temperatures. By lunchtime, 61 and then 67 for the high temperature later on today. Tomorrow will be slightly cooler. We could hit 70 by Friday, but we'll also add some rain to the forecast. I'll show you the timeline coming up.
Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We're staying on top of that breaking news here in Wake County. We're talking about this water main break shutting down Hillsborough Street, roundabout near West Morgan Street at Ash Avenue. That's where we find WRAL's Kelsey Coffey. She's been on that story since we got on the air this morning at 4:30 over on WRAL. Set the scene for us right now. What do we know?
Ken, crews are still hard at work here this morning on repairing this water main break. I'll step out the way so you can take a look at what I'm seeing right now. You can see there that they're still hard at work now. So they've been out here since 11 o'clock last night, several hours here. This is the roundabout with Hillsborough Street and West Morgan Street. We've seen some drivers coming in this morning, noticing that there's a water main break and then being forced to slam on brakes. So if this is a part of your morning commute, if you have to drive through this area, be sure just to be careful and slow down here as this is definitely impacting traffic. But Ken, what can you tell everyone about a possible detour?
Yeah, the thing is, we are seeing traffic getting through on those westbound lanes leaving the downtown area. But if you want to avoid it altogether, if you're coming out of the downtown area, just exit on Boylan Avenue, get over to Western Boulevard. That'll get you on your way. Now, if you're coming into the downtown area on Hillsborough, you'll be detoured onto Ash Avenue, and detours are set up to get you back to Hillsborough Street this morning as a result of that water main break. Over in Durham, we are seeing some bumper-to-bumper traffic in both directions on I-885 going in and out of Durham this morning. As we take a look at the live traffic sensors, in terms of the delay time, you're looking at an 8-minute delay heading into Durham and just a 7-minute delay if you're leaving Durham. Congestion also building in I-40 eastbound and westbound. That's a situation that's now off to the side of the road and the shoulder of the road, not causing any problems any longer for those westbound lanes. But you can see those lanes, bumper-to-bumper traffic heading toward the capital city this morning. In terms of other major routes heading into the capital city, the real troubled spots, US 1 coming in from Wake Forest, and of course a 10-minute delay if you're good folks coming in from Knightdale and you're using I-87. As far as the Bull City goes and those major routes, the troubled spot again, it's I-40 eastbound if you're coming in from Chapel Hill, and just a 7-minute delay if you're in Hillsborough coming in from on 880 and 85 this morning. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle.
Thank you, Ken. Just before 7 o'clock, Durham police announced a second teenager wanted in connection with an assault on a state trooper over the weekend is now in custody. Police say the second teen was taken into custody this morning on North Hallman Avenue. The WRAL breaking news tracker was there as officers conducted that investigation just after 2 o'clock this morning. The search started after officers swarmed Durham Chapel Hill Boulevard last night. They say the 14 and 15-year-old suspects abandoned a car there and ran off. The teens were wanted after police say they shot at a trooper during a chase in Orange County on Saturday. Officers were able to catch one of the teens last night and take him into custody.
This afternoon, lawmakers will receive updates on Helene recovery in North Carolina, and that'll happen at the state legislative building where you're looking live this morning. They will get more information on FEMA housing and federal recovery resources at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Lawmakers will evaluate how to spend that relief funding.
All of the Democrats and a handful of Republicans, mostly who are from these areas in Western North Carolina, want the state to just give grants to small businesses, similar to the PPP loans during COVID. Just here's some money. You need it to keep your staff employed. Take it. But most of the Republicans want to have that money in loans. to small businesses.
Now, today's meeting is happening ahead of a meeting with the Hurricane Disaster Management Committee tomorrow.
And today, you can give your opinion about plans to redevelop a popular Wake County park. WRAL's Laura Levine tells us the airport authority wants to make some big changes at Lake Crabtree Park.
The future of Lake Crabtree County Park here behind me is up in the air. Today, RDU plans to lay out its vision for the beloved park, which is now getting a whole lot of backlash. This is a look at the proposed development. The plans would affect 136 acres, including nearly all of the 9.4 miles of bike trails and a small sliver of lakefront. RDU says the development will create a unique and innovative entertainment destination that could also include restaurants, bars, or a hotel. But hikers and bikers are devastated by this news.
We need this. We don't need another entertainment area in the triangle. We need green spaces where everyone, young adults, kids, we can all get together and enjoy nature and learn about nature and how to take care of it.
So here's why this is happening now. RDU owns 330 acres of Lake Crabtree County Park and for years have leased the land to Wake County for only $1 a year. However, RDU says in a statement new requirements from the Federal Aviation Administration imposed last year means the airport authority is now required to get fair market value for the land. So the Airport Authority Board of Directors will meet today at 4 p.m. They're going to have a presentation, and then that'll be followed by public comment. That begins at 5 p.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Morrisville.
New this morning, a report released at midnight shows North Carolina's 4th and 8th graders are doing better in math, but not so much in reading. That's according to that newly released Nation's report card. The data shows mixed results for recovering from the pandemic learning loss. The state is making some changes to how it teaches kids to read. State Superintendent Mo Green says that those changes will take time to show up on tests.
Well, people are seeking help and advice in North Carolina as concerns about immigration enforcement arrests grow. Siembra NC is an organization that aims to protect people from discrimination. It says it has taken many calls in recent days from people worried about possible ICE activity in their communities. People have lined up outside the Mexican consulate in Raleigh seeking help. WRAL spoke with one woman from Virginia whose husband is here from Mexico legally.
We have all of our papers in order, and we are legal permanent residents. There's always that fear. Maybe you're going 5 miles over the speed limit and you get pulled over. Is that going to be cause to strip him of his legal permanent residency?
Siembra NC says it plans to hold training sessions to help with what they need to know if they are confronted by ICE agents.
Durham Public Schools says that it is working to retain more experienced bus drivers. The school board met yesterday to discuss their nearly $7 million budget shortfall, and they say the transportation team added 13 current employees from within Durham Public Schools. School leaders also say recruitment and training efforts will be an ongoing process. And they say they are working to ensure competitive pay as well as online, social media, and radio ads are available for attention.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will face tough questions from senators when his confirmation hearings begin today. RFK Jr. had no comments for reporters last night after his cousin, Caroline Kennedy, released a scathing letter urging the Senate not to confirm him as Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. In a letter, the former U.S. ambassador and daughter of President John F. Kennedy said RFK Jr. is a predator who is unqualified and lacking any relevant experience to the role.
Bobby preys on the desperation of parents of sick children, vaccinating his own kids while building a following hypocritically discouraging other parents from vaccinating theirs.
Caroline added that she believes her father and uncle would be disgusted by Kennedy Jr.'s views. He's expected to appear at the Senate Committee on Finance and the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions today.
Your time is 8:40. Poe Hall Furniture for sale. The concerns after NC State announced it is selling items from within the contaminated building.
And camping out at Caveville will bring you to Duke ahead of the big Battle of the Blues game and the tradition that lives on today.
And oh boy, warm and windy weather is ahead of some needed rain as you're taking a live look at Fayetteville this morning. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will give us the updated timeline to Friday's rain and its effect on you. Getting you a live look outside at Raleigh right now as you see the construction happening there near the Natural Science Museum. As you are watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or your streaming device. And I tell you, the people who are doing that construction today probably going to be comfortable, at least after a couple of hours from now, Elizabeth. A little colder right now, but things will warm up.
Yeah, we're going to warm up really quickly. Right now, it's still pretty chilly, but that sunshine as it comes up, and especially if you're standing in the sun, it feels a lot more comfortable. But we definitely started cold this morning. Temperatures were in the mid-30s to low 40s. This is a live look at Chapel Hill here. And of course, you can see what's happening, looking good here in Chapel Hill as we're checking out what's going on. So it is going to warm up really quickly as we get through the next little bit. We're going to see temperatures climbing all the way up into the 60s today for the first time this or the upper 60s for the first time this year. 39 right now, dew point 27, and again, climbing into those 60s. Still on the cool side this morning, upper 30s, low 40s if you're heading out the door right now, 41 in Southern Pines, 38 Rocky Mount, 46 up in Roxborough. The wind is going to be an issue. It's starting to pick up a little bit. Right now we're seeing gusts at about 17 in South Hill and Goldsboro, but it's that wind coming out of the southwest today that's going to bring in the warm air and warm us on up into the upper 60s. We'll see gusts up to around 30, steady winds at around 20 to 25 through the afternoon, and 67 in Raleigh, 66 in Durham, and 69 in Fayetteville. So beautiful. We'll continue the warm temperatures. A weak front comes in and drops our temperature to 60 for the high tomorrow. And tomorrow morning is going to be chilly like this morning, but 70 on Friday. However, we're likely to see some rain in the afternoon and into the evening on Friday. Right now, the weekend looks dry, 64 Saturday, 60 Sunday. That 70-degree day looks enticing, but we may have some rain to go along with it. How about 60-degree days in the winter? We actually do see a number of those typically for our winter. The last 5 years, we've averaged 35 days at 60 or warmer. But if you look back through 75 years, it's only been 26. You can see how we've warmed over the years. This winter, we've only seen 10 because we had such a cold January. Matter of fact, you remember this just last week on Wednesday, Joanne Wood sent us this reminder of the snow from Wilson County. Go to WRAL.com, search Report It. We love to see your photos. All that Arctic air that was with us is zooming on up to the north, and so we're going to continue to see mild conditions now for a while. Our high temperatures are going to be on up into the 70s 60s as we get through the next few days, and a couple 70s. 70 on Friday, 71 degrees on Monday.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. Well, this weekend is National Ice Cream for Breakfast Day. WRAL lifestyle editor Kathy Hanrahan, she's here with a list of ways that families can celebrate, including one shop that is featuring Bo-Berry biscuits. Kathy, what is this?
I am so hungry right now just thinking about it. So every year, National Ice Cream for Breakfast Day invites us to be a kid again and enjoy our favorite dessert for breakfast. I mean, we were just talking about how hungry we were during the break. Local shops get very creative with these options. Okay, so WRAL Voters' Choice Award winner Two Roosters is serving up something very special on Saturday. They're going to have a Bo-Berry biscuit sundae. All of their shops will have them. They're in Wake Forest, Raleigh, Durham, 9 a.m., Saturday morning. They're going to have them until they're gone, so get there early. They're also going to have 6 flavors featuring cereals. So you got a lot of options.
Stop it right now.
I know,
What
right?
is that? I need that. Oh
so
my
hungry.
goodness, we're starving. Oh my gosh. Okay, what else do we have?
Okay, so not to be outdone, award-winning ice cream shop Andia's, which has 2 Cary locations and 1 Raleigh location over at Ironworks. They're celebrating on Saturday. They've got some amazing stuff. They've got a donut sundae they normally do, but they've also got 6 new menu items from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Fruit Loop waffle cones, banana pancake brulee, which includes 2 pancakes with banana pudding. I mean, that's everything. A cinnamon roll sundae with fresh baked cinnamon rolls.
Oh,
all
stop
kinds
it.
of deliciousness.
Oh, stop it. The cinnamon bowl is topped with what?
It's topped with a coffee
crunch?
bean crunch and cinnamon roll icing, because you got to have cinnamon roll icing.
I'm going to Andia's. Oh my goodness, Kathy, I'm starving. Wow, you can see a full list of these flavors on WRAL.com. Just search keyword family. Kathy, thank you.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet with President Donald Trump, and he'll become the first foreign leader to do so during Trump's second term. White House officials say they will meet there on Tuesday, and the meeting will happen as mediators for the Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal begin to work on phase 2. Steve Witkoff, Trump's Middle East envoy, is making his way to Israel this week. That'll be his first visit since Trump took office. He'll meet with Netanyahu and other leaders, and actually Witkoff is also talking about going inside the Gaza Strip. which would be a first for a senior U.S. official during the war.
At least 17 people are dead and dozens hurt after a crowd crush at the world's largest religious gathering in India. Festival organizers say the crush happened early this morning after tens of millions of devotees went to bathe in a river and a barrier broke. Crowd crushes at Indian festivals are not uncommon. Back in 2013, dozens of people were killed and injured in a crowd crush at a railway station as they gathered for the same festival.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, just getting some information. In South Sudan, a small plane has crashed. 20 people are confirmed dead. There were 21 on board. The pilot and the co-pilot are both among those who are confirmed dead. This is where it is on a map here. The headline, as you see, has been updated from 18 now to 20. It was just 500 meters from the airport after it took off, taking some oil field workers headed for the capital, and it crashed very near the airport there. They're still trying to figure out exactly what happened in that crash. The one survivor was one of those workers, an engineer who worked in the oil field. He was taken in critical condition to a nearby hospital there. It has been, as I said, reported that of the 21 people on board that plane, pilot and co-pilot among those killed.
Goodness, just tragic to hear. 3,000 pieces of furniture from inside a contaminated NC State building are up for sale. Poe Hall was shut down in November of 2023, you'll recall, because toxic chemicals known as PCBs were found inside. The university plans to deconstruct the building, and that's why it's selling furniture that was inside. In a live stream video yesterday previewing the sale, some viewers expressed concern. They worry the furniture from Poe Hall could still be contaminated. And so here's the response from the live stream host.
High-end ergonomic. Well, we understand it's been cleaned, signed off on, and has been released to us. Just like any other piece of lab equipment that we get in, it's been cleaned to environmental health and safety standards.
NC State told us items sent to state surplus were cleaned as is asked for from protocol. Our teacher of the week thought that she wanted to be a vet when she started college at NC State, but tutoring her fellow classmates kind of changed her focus from animals to children. WRAL's Ken Smith introduces us to a chemistry teacher who is in her element in the classroom.
And then we've got to calculate the energy after that to turn the gas.
Lauren Latta spends her days teaching her students at Athens Drive High School about the fundamentals of chemistry.
And we're going to plug in our mass, 27 grams.
She says, though, success for her is when her students learn life skills that come with passing her class. And when students question, when will they ever use chemistry? Well, she has a few reminders for them.
Well, you might not be balancing equations or predicting products of reactions or doing gas law problems in your future job, but you will use the problem solving, critical thinking skills, the grit that it takes to get through chemistry as a tough class. Like, they'll use that in their future lives.
Latta discovered her love for teaching in college when she was a tutor at NC State for student athletes, but the request for her skills didn't end there.
I also tutored some of my friends in some of our harder classes at school. I was like the one they always ask questions to, and I was like, I really like this. Like, I'm pretty good at it.
Among her students, Latta's known for her kind and caring approach to teaching and forming bonds that go beyond the classroom.
There's not a single day that I don't just look around at least once, probably more than once, and I look at all my students and I'm like, this is why I do it. Like, I really love teaching my students.
Good morning, Miss Latta. You are WRAL's Teacher of the Week.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh my gosh.
Ken Smith, WRAL News.
She looks genuinely stunned, but you deserve it. And if you'd like to nominate a teacher, you can go to WRAL.com and enter Teacher of the Week in the search box.
Well, the warmer weather will be a welcome change for students in Krzyzewskiville. The tents are out ahead of this weekend's Battle of the Blues. That's between, of course, Duke and UNC. Krzyzewskiville sees Duke students pitch their tents outside Cameron Indoor in advance of Saturday's rivalry game. The tradition began back in 1986. Game tips off this Saturday at 6:30.